I will say I was a little disappointed leaving the movie theater. I felt like there was something missing, but I couldn't really put my finger on what it was until I saw it a second time. So
I'm very interested. I'm very intrigued. What a tease.
I'll flesh that out.
Stay tuned, listener.
In a little bit.
Okay, I see you.
So,
what is the missing link? There's your clickbait.
There you
the
go.
Missing link of the Mario Brothers movie.
Wow.
Hello and welcome to the Nerdiest podcast, the show where nerds talk about nerdy things. I'm your host, Mr. Nick Barrett, and this week I'm joined not only by my ride or die, Mr. Jackson Glass, but returning guest and friend of this show, AJ from the GenreGeeks podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about the highly anticipated, highly scrutinized by critics, the Super Mario Brothers movie. We've been hyping this one up for a little while, which is a little wild. And we'll see how this episode goes, because I've got thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Jackson has thoughts, feelings, and opinions. And AJ also has thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Are they all in alignment? You'll have to listen to the episode and find out. But before we jump into this episode, I am going to tell you that you can follow us on Instagram at The Nerdiest Podcast, and you can subscribe on YouTube at The Nerdiest Podcast. We're putting out great original content there, and we're putting like all kinds of YouTube shorts too. So if you want to see episode clips, you can go there. And you can also look in the description of this episode on Spotify only. Sorry, Apple listeners, but you're not the majority of our listeners anyway. We have a poll or some form of question that you can engage with, and we'd love to hear your feedback on that. But with that being said, I want to know how everyone's week's been, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to our guest, Mr. AJ. How have you been?
I have been good. It has been a while. We were just talking before we hit record that the last time I was on here was to discuss another video game adaptation. So it's very appropriate.
I promise we will bring you back for an episode where you can
I talk about a grown-up movie?
we will find like a grown-up movie that we all like and talk about that. Don't worry.
You're gonna bring me back for like the most brutal rated R, horrible.
Yo, so hey guys, we just watched Infinity Pool and it was really good.
We're here to we're here to talk about the Evil Dead Rises.
Yes.
So here we go.
Or if we want to stay on brand with video games, we're gonna say, all right, you're coming back to talk about Five Nights at Freddy's in October.
I'm mildly excited about that. I should not say mildly. I'm mildly looking forward to a good trailer for that movie. I'm curious what they can do with it.
I'm so on the fence about seeing it because that game legitimately traumatized me as a child, but I don't know if the movie is going to do the same thing. So
we can definitely talk about that in a bit because I know there's Five Nights at Freddy's. I didn't realize there's multiple games and books and stuff of it. I'm like, what did they do? What happened? I thought it was just a little clicky, don't get jump scared game. And apparently it has spawned into something completely different.
Oh, it's a huge franchise now. Like,
yeah, I'm an old man now, I guess. I'm out of it.
Dang. Same.
But I've been good though. We are back in the GenreGeeks is back in the swing of things less than more, but we're trying to get content back right now. We're just doing movies right now just to kind of get our toes wet. We have been having he's now an official genre geek at this point. Ryan from I'd Like a Refund's been joining us to cover. We've done Creed 3, we've done Scream 6, John Wick 4, and then next week we're also covering Mario with Joel from I'd Like a Refund.
Yes.
So we're trying our best to get back into the swing of things.
Can I just say how good it is to have everyone back? Like we all legitimately missed the GenreGeeks podcast on break.
It's so true.
We were legitimately, like, I don't want to gush too much on air. I don't like to embarrass people, but we've had conversations of like, what if they don't come back? Oh no. So we're glad to have you back. It's an honor, truly. I'm glad that you're doing well.
Thanks, I appreciate that. You guys called this early. This was months and months and months ago. I think when they announced the movie, more or less, you guys called it. And I'm all right, I'll put it in my book. Fair enough.
Yep.
Absolutely worth it. Hopefully worth the wait. The audience, only time can tell.
Oh, time will tell. So yeah, my week was pretty good. Not a whole lot happened. I think last episode I brought it up. Was it last episode I talked about our short film?
Yep.
Yes. Last episode I talked about our short film and how we worked on that a little bit and it was really good. If you're watching a video, you can see we won first place. So
Award-winning, man. Never forget to drop that.
Award-winning short film is I don't want to get too big of a head, but award-winning short film is a pretty good title.
It's a great resume builder, I'll tell you that.
I also won a smaller award for acting I did in another short film that I didn't even think I did that good of a job in. And so it's just
look at this guy. Look how humble he is. Wins an award and is like, I didn't think it was that good.
I didn't think it was that good. No, that's the thing. I was talking to people after and I was like, I'm not an actor. I don't. And this girl, she grabbed me by the shoulder. She said, Jackson, never say you're not an actor because that's how theater people talk. They're like, never say you're not an actor because you have a gift. She's like, where have you been all this time? I was like, I've been here. You just haven't subscribed to my YouTube, okay? I've been here. I told you to comment, like, and subscribe. So that was pretty great. I won $75. Wow.
Let's go.
Guys, I went and I bought cereal. So,
Whoa.
Times are lean, my guy.
Big spender over here.
We're trying so hard, It's like
I thought you were like, I bought myself a good dinner. Like, no, you're trying to stretch that money out, feed you for days.
I got my Cocoa Pebbles over here. I could not be happier about it. So it blew up more than my expectations. I'm going to probably just post it soon because short film distribution is super complicated of do you put it on YouTube? Do you do a festival run? So since it's just kind of my first time, I'll probably just leave it there, quit while I'm ahead and put it on YouTube and let everyone see it. So that's my plan. But other than that, nothing insane this week worth mentioning. So Mr. Nick.
Wow. I don't think I have anything absurdly insane this week. It's been one of those weeks because I went and saw the Mario movie on Wednesday, so it was in the middle of the week, and I was so excited Monday, Tuesday that I didn't really get anything done. I edited some shorts, but
really,
that's about it.
You were that excited?
Yes, actually.
Coming from my dude who said Sonic 2 was his favorite movie of that year, in a year of Everything Everywhere All at Once, in a year or whatever, the Banshees, all that stuff. No, none of that. Sonic 2, baby. 2.
Do you see what I have to deal with on a daily basis?
Do you not, as an audience, I don't know if you guys can experience this from your perspective, as an audience member, I adore it because if you want the trigger of wait, what? I will hear what you have to say. Mm-hmm. That's how you link them in, man. That's how you hook your audience in.
Yeah. No, this man, I think the most common conversation we have is, no, please don't make another romance anime video.
It got 15,000 views.
Listen. Here's the thing. This is why we work, because I enjoy those movies, but they're not my favorite. So it balances.
My capitalism brain tells me to make another YouTube video because the first one did so good. So why stop?
Wave that freak flag and cash those bucks, man. There's a space in the atmosphere for it. You can do it. I say do it well.
Wow. Don't encourage this behavior.
I've been doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff. Mm-hmm. That I can't. It's not that I can't talk about it. It's just I choose not to. So, I don't know. I spent an hour last night saving and reloading my Breath of the Wild file so that I could get a stupid piece of armor off this amiibo because it didn't want to give it to me the first try. So I just went and reloaded, and it took me an hour, and I finally got it.
Good Lord. Well, good for you.
So doing that because I got to finish my Breath of the Wild Master Mode run before Tears of the Kingdom comes out in 35 days.
Where's your live countdown thing somewhere?
I need to get one because it's going to be such a big day because not only is it Zelda and I have the Pro Controller and the amiibo and the collector's edition and the game, but I also get to eat Chick-fil-A for the first time in 5 months.
This man made a bet against himself.
I did. It
and
was a terrible
lost.
bet.
Why would you punish yourself like that?
For those who don't know, when the Game Awards was coming around, I said, you know what? If there's no Tears of the Kingdom trailer at the Game Awards, I won't eat Chick-fil-A for a month. And then I said that on an episode of Joystick Drift, and I think it was Alex challenged me and said, you should not eat Chick-fil-A until the game comes out. And I said, you know what? Sure. Because I was super confident that they were going to show a trailer, and then they didn't. So I haven't had Chick-fil-A since December 9th, 2022.
Which, doesn't sound bad until you realize how often he usually eats.
Yeah, I usually go there at least
Chick-fil-A.
once or twice a week.
That's like his favorite restaurant. Anytime
Dude, I had Chick-fil-A up like 2 days ago. Man.
People eat
for
Chick-fil-A
real.
in front of me, and they kind of do it to spite me now because everyone's in on it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I did this to myself. So
had-
it's going to be a great day. I'm going to get Chick-fil-A
had
for
Chick-fil-A for
breakfast
dinner.
when I go to Best
Ooh,
Buy
we
to
can
pick
eat
up
those
all
little
my
chicken
stuff.
minis.
And then,
Yeah.
so here's my epic plan. I get it for breakfast, right? Because there's like a Chick-fil-A here and the Best Buy is right here. So I swing by, get my chicken minis for breakfast, go to Best Buy when they open at 10, pick up all my stuff. On my way back, I hit Chick-fil-A again, and I get nuggets for lunch, and then I get a sandwich for dinner, and that's my meal. And then I go home, and I play Zelda all day.
That's iconic.
That's a
May
good day.
12th
What's
is
your
gonna be a
dipping?
great day.
What's your dipping sauce of choice, by the way?
Ketchup.
Ooh.
Ketchup.
No.
Come on, dude. You got to get that Chick-fil-A sauce, man.
I don't like the Chick-fil-A sauce. I really
Oh
don't.
no.
Here's the thing.
no.
I get it. I'm on the Chick-fil-A sauce hype train. I am like a Chick-fil-A sauce fiend.
Dude,
love
I have
Chick-fil-A
2
sauce.
bottles of it in my fridge
Me
right
too.
now. I'm about that. I put that stuff on
Yes.
like anything I can.
Yes. Oh my gosh, thank you. This man just
mean, if
ketchup.
anyone-
It's that good, man.
If anyone wants to
Exactly.
know how much I love ketchup, my friends thought it would be funny if for Christmas 2021, while we were all in school, they put a box on my front porch at my apartment and they rang the doorbell. And none of them were there. They just left the box there. So I thought it was like a bomb or something. And I opened it, and inside were 9 of the massive ketchup bottles that you get from Costco.
It's a pretty good bit.
That was in 2021.
That's
I
good.
just finished the last bottle like 3 months ago.
Dude, that's a lot of
Oh
ketchup,
my
man.
gosh.
It was
I
a
Are you
lot
don't
of
just
even
ketchup
spooning
to
it
go
like
through.
pudding? What's your move?
You'd
What's
be
your
surprised.
ratio on a dip, dude? You got the ratio is supposed to lean towards the thing with things on top of it. I feel like your ratio is completely out of whack.
I eat a lot of chicken nuggets. I eat a lot of fish sticks, and my mom makes burgers all the time.
Sure.
So-
Okay.
That's how I go through so much ketchup.
This man, I don't know. You see, I respect you so much because you unapologetically live like an 8-year-old in every aspect of life. And I just don't know, like, if an 8-year-old had a car, it would be you.
Yeah, pretty much.
In the best way possible. You're like, I couldn't get anything done. I had to go see the Mario movie. Like, I couldn't
Guys,
get
I
it.
can't
work. So
I need to go see the funny Plumber Man movie.
I gotta go see Jack Black. All right, so recently we've done a little competition. If I can find my phone, we asked
Man,
who could watch 100 movies first.
I think you're going to be disappointed in me this week.
Well, I was pretty mad when you beat me, so I think I'm gonna be pleasantly surprised. If you don't know, we said who can watch 100 movies first this year. AJ, you're on Letterboxd. Are you active? Like, are you keeping up this year?
Not really. I don't really keep up, and then like once every 2 months, I'll just bombard it with everything that I can recall.
Yeah, I will do movies. I don't do shows. Like, I don't log shows. That's too far. I know a guy who uses an app to track his board game wins. And I just think
That's for real.
another level. Like, dude, he's like, "Ah, man, I was down 2-1 tonight on King of Tokyo." I was like, Huh?
That game's not bad, but still,
That's
dude,
such
it's
a
weird to keep
good-
track of it.
I'm so glad you know what that is. I'm obsessed with King of
I'm
Tokyo
a board game
right
guy,
now.
and I'm a
Dude,
Godzilla guy, man. I'm
dude.
all about it.
King of Tokyo is my obsession right now. We're playing like every
Pretty good.
night. It's so fun. Okay, Nick, what's your movie total at? Give it to me straight.
I'll proudly go first this week. I am currently at 49.
49.
If I had watched one more movie, I'd be halfway.
All right,
But I
halfway
didn't
on.
have time.
Almost pretty much halfway on April 7th. That's pretty good.
Which is great because, like I've said, it's just going to come to a screeching halt in a month.
Once Zelda's out, it'll come to a screeching halt and I will win. But
That's
until
if I don't
then-
hit 100 before then.
that's oh my gosh, please don't hit 100 by then.
No,
I-
see, you say that, but you know who I am. You know
Yeah.
that's completely within the realm of possibility.
Oh, absolutely.
You're just gonna spite watch a bunch of things where you're not even happy about it. You're just
It's like,
like,
this movie sucks.
"Are you good?" Like, no, and you just watching.
It's like, no.
just hitting play.
That wasn't that in like our rules was like no, don't essentially it was just don't be sweaty. Where, like,
Yeah,
you
don't be
couldn't-
sweaty.
You couldn't just watch things to get it on the list. You had to like
Right.
enjoy what you were watching and like so you're at 49, I'm at 40 as
Oh,
of this
man.
week.
Well, I'm still ahead.
Still ahead,
Yeah.
but because this week I watched Ocean's 8, The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent, the
Nice.
Mario movie, and Lyle Lyle Crocodile. That movie,
How was it?
hot garbage.
Oh man, I'm always hoping for another
Sucks.
Paddington too.
No,
I'm
yeah.
always hoping.
No, I had not high hopes, but I didn't think it would be as bad as it was. But it had no plot. All of the meme moments were in the first 6 minutes, and the entire movie was the most theatrical backing track. Like, the music was incredible, and then it was ruined by Shawn Mendes giving the most generic vocal of a lifetime. And I was just like, as a movie and a musical and a music person, it hurt me. I did not like that movie. Bad movie. You should go
Bummer.
watch it. It's really funny. Anyway.
You know what I watched that I think you should both watch is
What?
the Dungeons and Dragons movie. That was actually
I was
really
this
good.
close to watching it.
I
I was
was
very close to watching it.
shocked
He had
with
to
how
see
much
Mario
I liked
instead.
it. It was it was really funny. Like
Okay.
and I really enjoyed it. I don't want to say too much cuz like I don't know, it was just one of those movies where you sit down, you have a good time. It's not like
That's cool.
kind of a turn your brain off movie. You just kind of let it play out. So I enjoyed it. I watched
wanna go
that.
see it.
I watched the romance movie, and then I watched Mario twice.
My dude hit it twice. Let's go.
This
I hit
We're
it-
recording this on a Friday night, everybody. Technically, the movie comes out today. Technically,
I hit it Wednesday for opening day, and I didn't take any notes. That's why I went back a second time. Was the second time I sat there the whole time typing down notes while I'm watching. Okay, okay, got it. I would also say I think the movie is better a second time around, and
Honestly?
I can get into that later.
I might
Let's
go
get-
see
yeah.
it a second time Tuesday when it's $5. So who's to say? But we did see the Super Mario Bros. Movie, highly anticipated, and I opened up the Rotten Tomatoes because I wanted to see if what I predicted was true, and it was. The critics, with about 200 reviews, gave it a 56. And that surprised me. I thought, it's got to be better than that. And the audience, with 2,500 plus verified ratings, said 96. So that's about
Bit of
what I
discrepancy.
expected. I expected a huge discrepancy. And I can't decide where I fall. We'll kind of get into that. But general thoughts, just, is this a good movie? Like,
that's the question, isn't it?
I don't want to go first because I'm gonna sound like an idiot if I do.
All right, look. I'll go. This
Yeah.
movie it was a terrible plot. It was a sequence of non sequiturs that were very, very loosely strung together. Things are incoherent. The overall story makes zero sense. It's in and out in like an hour and a half, and I loved it. Okay, I loved this movie, but I loved it. I'm not saying it's a good movie. That is the discrepancy. So I can't stand the people that don't. They're like, oh, I never listen to critics. Good critics, their job is to analytically look at a movie and almost as objective as you can with art, dissect it and look at its strengths, its weaknesses. What is this thing? All the different parts of it. What is it creating in the end? This movie is not a good movie objectively. If you look at it as just a straight up film, it's a horrible movie that really makes very little sense. So they're supposed to say, no, it sucks. And then the audience, if you're about what the experience of the movie and the emotion at the end, fun. I walked out of that theater smiling. So this is not the kind of movie that's going to be winning Oscars, maybe for like visual, maybe or something, or score, which we'll get to later. But it's not trying to be anything like, it's not trying to be quote cinema. This is a family film that is using the Mario stuff that you got a bunch of 10-year-olds and a bunch of 40-year-olds in the same room laughing and pointing at the thing that made them happy. So I liked it. I liked it a lot, despite it not being a good movie.
That's such a good take. I really appreciate that.
You don't know how that I was simmering, silent car ride on the way home. Just like, how do I articulate this feeling?
Do I feel? I just hate, here's the thing. I don't get angry. People's movie opinions, when they're just dumb, make me angry. Because if someone says, this is a bad movie, I'm like, okay, hold on. Maybe it's a good movie it can be a good movie that you didn't like. Like, that's possible. So that's a very informed opinion. Nick, I want to hear your side, because you're probably just going to gush for like 30 minutes.
Okay. So that's what you would think. And I know that's what everyone's expecting. But I'm going to go more in the same route as AJ, where honestly, objectively, looking at this film, it's not a good movie. Objectively. Like he said, the plot is just kind of like, it's just a bunch of sequences that happen to happen one after the other in a sequential that goes from point A to point B by the end. It's very reminiscent of, and this might be a terrible comparison, it's very reminiscent of the first Minions movie, where it just kind of starts, they somehow end up at the inciting incident, and then the plot goes from there. And it just kind of happens, and you don't really know how it happens, but it was entertaining, and it was funny, and you enjoyed it, and you don't feel like it was a wasted experience. But you're also not going to say, this should win Oscar for Best Animated Film of the Year. So I thought I really enjoyed it. Like, if I had the time, I would go see it a third time. Like, I really enjoyed it.
It's an hour and a half. You might find the time.
No, yeah, for real.
I think my favorite part of the movie was the soundtrack. The soundtrack had me smiling and just so ecstatic for the entire movie. But I will say, and we'll keep it spoiler free for now, and we'll get to spoilers a little later, just in case you haven't seen the movie and you kind of want to get like a feel for how it is, by listening to people and not the stupid Rotten Tomatoes critics who half of them haven't played a Mario game in the last 35 years.
Dang.
No, it's true. Literally, one of the reviewers was like, and Mario apparently turns into a cat. Like, I don't know why he turns into a cat. He's never done that before, but cats are really popular in Asia. And I'm like, he was literally a cat in the last...
I would subscribe to that person's take. I want to hear their takes on everything.
What?
That's
anyway,
really funny.
I will say I was a little disappointed leaving the movie theater. I felt like there was something missing. But I couldn't really put my finger on what it was until I saw it a second time. So
I'm very interested. I'm very intrigued. What a tease.
I'll flesh that out.
Stay tuned, listener.
In a little bit.
Okay, I see you.
So,
what is the missing link? There's your clickbait.
There you
the
go.
missing link of the Mario Brothers movie.
Wow.
All right, Jackson, your turn.
Ooh, I don't know how to follow that. Anyway, I don't know what I expected. I truly don't. I felt like this movie had huge potential, and a lot of the decisions I just didn't think were good. I just was disappointed by a lot of the direction they took in this movie. That being said, I had a good time. It was the soundtrack's amazing. All right, let's just get it out there. Like the original score and the mixtape that they put together, all the songs are great. It's like just nostalgic enough to be good, but not so nostalgia heavy that it feels like they're milking it. And soundtrack is amazing. I think Chris Pratt did good.
Thank you.
I think he did a good job. And the only voice actor to me that I thought was like excelled and did above bare minimum was Jack Black.
Of course.
Of course he did. He excelled in this role. He was the only voice to me though that really like stood out. The rest of them were like good but not Oscar worthy. I think my biggest problem with it was I think personally it should have been more of an adventure movie, and the adventure was a montage, and then we got where we needed to go so that we could shove more IP in it. And so
Sure.
We knew that this movie was going to be just an IP bomb. It was, look, here's Donkey Kong, look, here's Toad, look, here's like all this stuff. And I think it is a smart idea to incorporate the things from games. Like they incorporated Smash Bros. By letting him fight Donkey Kong. They incorporated Mario Kart by letting them drive carts to get away from bad guys and get back to the kingdom. But it also felt very like, just very convenient and very like, oh, of course Rainbow Road goes back to exactly where we need to go. I was like, okay, come on.
And that's where the critics come in, and they're picking that stuff apart, and they're like, that's inexcusable. Movies, you're not supposed to just have, a ton. The whole movie's just a bunch of Deus Machina. So
exactly.
It ends. That's where the Rainbow Road ends.
So
so that's where it's not good in that way. It doesn't mean it's not fun.
No, absolutely.
It is what it is.
I had a lot of fun, but I also would have had more fun if the story was coherent. So that's what I'll say. I don't know. The story, all of the bad things were very apparent to me, and I think it hurt my enjoyment of the movie more than other people. I don't know why. I was very critical of it while watching it, and I will see it again in my lifetime, whether it goes to streaming or the DVD's on sale, or I'm bored on a Tuesday night and I could see it for $5 in the theater. I want to see it again because it's fun, and I really like those fun movies. But I really, really wanted it to be one of those Puss in Boots phenomenons where it was like, hey, go see it because it's just a great movie. And I think it had the potential to do that and just didn't hit that mark like I wanted it to.
Fair.
Yeah,
Very fair.
I think that's fair. Something I want to bring up is, did the trailers give away too much?
Yes.
I would also agree.
I'd say no, because this isn't that kind of movie. There's no stakes in this movie. I'm not worried Mario's gonna die or Peach is gonna die. There's no stakes, so I don't really care about the spoilers for it.
That makes sense.
I think my
interesting
bigger issue was going into the movie after having watched the trailers, and it wasn't like I sat and watched them on repeat for hours. I consumed them when they first came out, and then when I went to the theater, I watched them again because I was super excited, and I might have watched them on YouTube here and there once or twice. But after having done that, I went into the movie, and coming out of it, I felt like I had already known everything from the trailers. The only thing that they really didn't show at all was the end, the ending fight. That was really it. we had gotten a piecemeal of everything else. The Mario Kart, like fighting Donkey Kong, the doing the training course, like all those things that were kind of supposed to be big moments in the movie were in the trailers. So I think they could have done especially without that third trailer they did where it showed Donkey Kong with the fire flower, like some of that stuff I think could have been cut out, and they didn't need that third trailer. I understand why they did, because they need it for the more general audience. But that's just me, which is all that. See, that reason in and of itself is why I'm not watching any trailers for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah.
Me too. If
I've
you're gonna
gone
watch
like
the movie, just don't watch
radio
trailers.
silent on that movie.
Yeah.
I'm
kind of in general just done with movie trailers. I think if a movie looks good from the poster and the plot synopsis or whatever I catch from the trailer I see when I go to the theater, if it catches my attention enough for that, I want to see it and I want to form my own opinion on it. So I think Spider-Man No Way Home was what killed movie trailers for me. Just because of the way people picked apart those trailers so much that I was just kind of like, I don't care. So I'm pretty much done with saying, oh, I'm going to watch that trailer on YouTube intentionally. It's like, I have premium. I can skip the ad.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. To be fair, I didn't really see many trailers for this just because I knew I was going to see it. And it's not that kind of movie for me.
Yeah.
I didn't even see the trailer where apparently they showed Donkey Kong with the fire flower. So that shows like, unless it was a trailer that they showed in the theater or it was an unskippable ad on whatever I was on, I didn't really see many trailers for it. I definitely didn't seek out any trailers except for the very first one that they dropped, which actually got me really excited. This is the wrong kind. This is a business movie, to be clear. So there's different kinds of movie. I forgot the exact term. You're film school guys, but it's like there are art, films that are made for the sake of using the medium to express yourself. There's informational ones, i.e. documentaries, and then there's business ones, Star Wars, Marvel. These are things that are supposed to generate money. You put in X amount hoping for a large return, and that's all this is. So I don't look at this movie, and that's why some people are looking at this and like, oh man, it was terrible. They didn't have blah, 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 or it was so great, this, and that. It's like, what are your expectations with this? Mm-hmm. When I saw the trailer, I'm like, this will be a fun family flick where I can show my kid and I can, maybe even tune in and out. I can go refill my drink halfway through the movie and it's going to have that was in a video game I saw back when I was blah, blah, blah years old. So seeing the trailer and, getting all hyped because they have the little fun Easter eggs and stuff, like it was just enough to get me in the seat. It's not, this isn't an art movie where I'm like, darn it, they spoiled this scene for me.
Right.
That's just not this kind of movie for me.
Is the word you're looking for a commercial film?
There you go.
Yeah,
this is just, it's a money film.
To be fair, I was going to save this to the end, but it's on topic right now. As of today, this movie has already crossed $120 million worldwide. And apparently the budget was $100 million. So they've made their money back, and anything from here on out is...
And technically before the weekends even started, technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we're not even in the opening weekend yet.
Dude. The projected opening weekend is $195 million.
That's incredible.
Wow.
Good.
Is where they're supposed to be by Monday.
I'm very happy for that.
The prediction.
I believe that.
I think, one, and we can... this is in my closing thoughts, so we'll save it the full discussion later. But I think this to Nintendo is a very good sign because it means that, one, they can take the criticism from the critics and they can improve for the next movie, which is kind of what they did with Sonic. And you see how that turned out. The second one, I would argue, is better than the first one because they took that feedback and they made it and they worked it in and they were like, okay, let's take the constructive criticism and we'll make it better. But they also saw that it's not a flop. And I think that was the fear, is it's going to be a financial flop. And as long as it makes the money, they'll keep making more. And I also hope this means we get a Zelda movie down the line. I'm just saying.
I'll ask, what's your guys' Nintendo movie that you really want to see now?
Zelda, but not by elimination. I think they should give it to someone else. Just because And not to say Illumination is a bad studio. They clearly did a lot of really good work with this movie, and they've like I love the Despicable Me movies.
Mm-hmm.
But I also feel like their art style and just their animation style in general would not work with Zelda, because Zelda is a little bit more of a serious property, whereas Mario is like, oh yeah, you can do those squishy physics where, you know, he gets punched and rolls and hits a wall. Like, you can't really do that with Zelda. And I know a lot of people are like, well, we should get live action Zelda. And I'm like, I'm hesitant to do anything in live action because you're going from a video game that thrives off the fact that it's not live action.
You lose the style of it when it goes live action.
Yeah, like
you're suddenly constrained by reality.
And that's why anime adaptations like never work.
No,
It doesn't work. They will not work in live action because it's the mediums don't work.
Right.
because
They don't
real
cross over.
people, shocker, don't look like anime characters. Whoa.
You can't tell me that. You can't prove that.
Boy, was I shocked when I went to Japan for the first time. Super disappointed.
It's like, whoa. These
There are
people
no
look
English. There are no
Where are the
English
dragons?
subtitles.
Where
when
are
I
the
go to
dragons?
Japan.
Guys, you all look so normal.
What?
Where are
I'm
the
wanting
subtitles?
I need a Metroid movie.
Oh
I
my gosh,
really
that would
want
be
to see a
so
Metroid
cool.
movie. Show me Samus. Let's go.
Can I, I'm going to throw kind of a weird idea. I want a me movie. I want, like, here's the thing. It could be like Barbie, where they're like in this like me world, and there's like all these, and like they live in the me channel, but like this young me wants to grow up and move over to like the photo channel over on the Wii. It could be really good. Hold on.
So
It's
you're
going to have a
talking,
dope
like,
soundtrack, I'll tell you that much.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So you're talking like blending
Exactly.
Barbie and Wreck-It Ralph
Yes,
is what you want
I'm
out
so
of a
glad
me
you,
movie.
I'm so
You
glad
actually
you
pitched a
understand.
solid movie. I was
you.
laughing at you in the beginning, but
you.
once you explained yourself, I'm like,
I'm just saying.
dude,
I'm just
$200 million opening weekend. Nintendo open to any kind of idea.
I'm just saying. Like, let's go make it, guys.
I think Nintendo should lean into anime. I really do. I think they have a lot of good. Like, I think Zelda would be a great anime because they've got the Zelda manga. They're already doing it.
Sure.
And then also Xenoblade Chronicles would make a killer anime. Because I know
Sure.
a lot of people are like, oh, I don't like turn-based, or I don't like RPGs. They're too long. And I'm like, okay, watch the anime then. Like,
There you go.
takes out all the gameplay, still tells the same story.
There's an
Yes.
idea though. You mentioned like that. What about a series? You think Nintendo would get in on series?
Where would it
they
go?
would.
Where would it
I
go?
don't know. Couldn't tell you. I don't
HBO,
know.
like,
They'll make their own platform. They're Nintendo.
So
yo.
I think
Log
and I-
onto your Switch, watch
I
it there.
heard this. I heard this on another podcast, and because Nintendo's in partnership with Universal, the way it works is their movies go to Peacock after theaters, and then 4 months after Peacock, they go to Netflix.
Oh.
So I could
Okay.
see Nintendo doing like a Netflix exclusive
Yeah.
series.
I'm
I don't
down
know
for
if
that.
they'd go as niche as Peacock. I feel like the audience base isn't there, and they
No.
would go with a Netflix, Hulu, or HBO Max. They're not going to go Disney Plus because it's direct competitor to Universal. But one of those three would probably host a series if that's the way they want to go. We'll just see if the Mario movie hits a streaming service. There's your
There's your answer.
there's where your that's where your
Yeah.
series is going.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm cautiously optimistic for the future of like Nintendo movies. I think it could be really good. They tell great stories. I just think Illumination might not be their best choice. But I also don't know. I don't have a recommendation for who else to go to because no one else is gonna, like, DreamWorks is not gonna partner with Nintendo.
Well,
so, like,
remember, DreamWorks is owned by Universal, so if Universal sends them the check
that's true.
and says make a Zelda movie, they're gonna be like, okay,
Yeah. I don't know.
Fair.
we'll make a check, we'll make your Zelda movie.
It's making the money, so I don't know. I think I don't know. I just I'm scared. I'm scared because video game movies have never, like, even this movie wasn't amazing. And
Well, I think well, how are you measuring it? And at least, how do you think Nintendo's measuring it? I don't think Nintendo could care. I think they can care less what critics have to say. It could get a 0% Rotten Tomatoes, but we sold $200 million opening weekend, and we didn't have to work hard about it. The visual departments had to work hard about it, but it took they could write that out on a napkin, the whole plot of this movie.
Yeah.
And so, bare minimum work. And $200 million, they're like, let's do that for, and like Nintendo's been sitting on Kirby and Punch Out, which you've seen the Easter eggs in this. Yeah. Like, I'm just like, if Donkey Kong's own movie, think about all the countless things that they're like, we don't even have to work hard.
Luigi's Mansion movie,
Dude.
we need it.
Especially with how Luigi got treated in this movie. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
Let's get into that.
All right. I think it's safe to do spoilers now.
Yeah, we can go to spoilers.
All right, spoiler talk. They used the superstar. That was so cool.
That was hype.
That was kind of dope. That was pretty dope.
That was my supersonic moment from Sonic 2, where they use. I mean, it's kind of the same thing, but
it's virtually the same.
Yeah, they know what they like.
I lost it. When they both grabbed it, I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're gonna do the thing!" And then the music started playing. Like
that music, dude. I'm waiting for. I will own the vinyl for this. I will own whatever I need to get this music in my ears.
They added it
about the music.
They added it to Spotify last night.
Let's go.
And I was listening to it all night. I was like, because it's the closest we're ever gonna get to official Nintendo music on a music streaming platform. And I'm hoping that if the movie soundtrack does really well, Nintendo will say, "Oh, look at all this free money we're throwing away by not having all our game soundtracks on Spotify." It's almost like almost every other game company puts their game soundtracks on Spotify.
Whoa, that's a novel idea.
That's crazy.
I just found a great IGN article. Exclusive Mario movie Bowser's heartfelt ode to Peach song Peaches has its own single on vinyl.
And I will own that too, dude. I love the Jack Black of it all.
That was such a good song. I unironically
Preaches.
Preaches.
Because he gets so into it too.
Yes.
And the thing is, it's like as it got, because I don't know, I can't speak for you guys, but my generation stan Jack Black. He's the guy who can get away with anything. He just the movies he was involved in, like Nacho Libre, School of Rock. I mean, I can go deeper. Just like this, who he is. There's a Jack Black ism. There's this theory of like different types of actors. You have the actors who can like lose themselves in a role and become someone else, or you have the Jeff Goldblums. You've got the John Malkoviches. You have the Jack Blacks, who it's like you want to see them in the movie, and they did that with Bowser.
Yes,
where it's Jack Black,
Oof.
but as a big turtle. It's incredible.
It's so good. It's incredible. He's the best part. And I want to get into characters for a second because Bowser, 10 out of 10, best character in my opinion. Mario as a character, like, okay, Mario, like, based on the game solely, he kind of has a character, but they almost had to, like, start from scratch a little bit and figure it out. And I don't think they took the necessary time to establish him. They were just like, yeah, he's in Queens, he's in New York, and he's a plumber, and he's got a brother named Luigi, and his family doesn't believe in him, so, okay, cool, now he's saving the world. And I just felt like that there wasn't enough time spent on characters specifically, and I think Peach is a prime example of this too, where I think Peach bothered me very deeply in this movie, because I thought as a character, she was kind of boring. And let me explain that a little bit. Don't get all mad. Let me explain a little bit. I think Peach is kind of the Rey Skywalker of this movie. She is.
I 100% agree with you, dude.
Thank you.
That is
I thought about this exact
That
thing.
is such a heavy accusation to wear.
She's good at everything, and that's not interesting. What was Peach's journey in this movie? Beginning of the movie to end, did she develop at all? Like, nothing about her, or she had no journey.
Yeah.
And it sucks because I feel like we're in an apologetic phase, which is good, about how film has treated women.
Yes.
And we're like, they're usually just background blah blah blahs, and so to overcompensate to fix that, we're like, so they have to make them strong and incorruptible, which is okay. That I feel like we're going the wrong way now, because now they're not interesting, and I feel like that's what, as a male, I feel like that's what I was hearing like women try to complain about. But they're like, okay, well, have you tried the Bechdel test in this movie? Did Peach talk to another female at all in this movie?
I don't think there was another female in this movie.
Exactly. She didn't talk to Mario's mom or whatever in this. It's like, they're not solving the real problem here of Peach. Where's Peach's journey in this movie? She's not interesting in this movie. She's perfect at doing the obstacle thing, down to where I was actually getting excited when Mario was like, so how did you do when you first said this? She's like, oh, I couldn't do it at all. I did it worse than you. I'm like, okay, actually
Go into that.
say she was worse than him in that, because it's like, and look how hard she worked. She's a determined character. She's perfect at everything in this movie. I agree with you, Jackson, 100%.
Thank you. I thought she was very... It was just, she's such a cool, awesome girl boss, and she can do anything. Like, she's so cool, and oh no, she gets captured, but she had a plan all along, so ha ha ha. And it was just kind of like, okay. And there was only one time that I can point out in this movie that I thought, that I actually felt cringe, and that's when they're on Rainbow Road.
Oh no!
And
is it Toad's line?
And he goes,
"Let's go."
That's how you princess.
Now that's what I call princessing. Like, what does that mean?
I'm like,
I thought you were gonna lean into the bit where Mario and Peach were flirting, even though that's like not what it was, and the only reason it was suggested that is because they wrote Donkey Kong to come up and say, "Was that you flirting?" Like, it would have been totally fine if you didn't say that.
Yeah.
It
could have been implied.
You didn't need to say that for us to understand that that's kind of the subtle undertone.
Yeah.
Because I was going to disagree with you, but after hearing what you had to say, I kind of agree. I see where you're coming from.
Thank you.
But
let's go. We did it.
I do like that they kept the aspect of Mario and Peach, like, kind of having a thing for each other. Like, it wasn't like, oh, they're dating by the end of the movie, but it was like kind of there, which is good because that's set up for a future movie. And obviously that was the big crux as to why Bowser didn't like Mario, which I didn't like the first time around. I thought it was kind of weird because I was expecting Bowser to be like this mean villain who hates Mario. And then I watched it the second time and I was like, actually, you know what? No, I like this. It's just, it's kind of petty.
Here's the thing. It's interesting at the very least.
Yeah.
And it's just a really dumb reason for a villain to hate the antagonist or the protagonist. And I was totally okay with it.
One of the funniest parts in the whole movie for me was when Bowser was interrogating Luigi, and he was like, "Does she find, or do princesses find him attractive?
If they have good taste,
if they have good taste."
Like, that was so
that's
funny because they put the effort into Bowser, where it's like, okay, what's the cliche? He's big, bad, wants to kidnap the princess, destroy the blah blah blah. They gave him depth by instead he wants to marry her. Like, that's such a fun twist on this character, where I was laughing every time he was like practicing what he'd say to Peach. All that's, it's great. And then you have the opposite with Peach, where it's like, yeah, she's super strong and put together, and it's like, okay, so then what's the thing with her that's like the unexpected, the thing that's supposed to be, and there is nothing. There's nothing there, and that's why I feel really bad for I feel really bad for like the female audience who is wanting their character that they can like look up to and be hyped for.
Which, I don't know. I thought that this may be more of a writing thing. I thought she was very trusting of Mario very suddenly, and it was very like, oh, hey, you want to save your brother? Okay, let's go. Okay, we can go.
Okay,
yeah, that's fine. Let's go.
Hold on. In her defense, though, this is her first time seeing another human.
Okay.
After being constantly surrounded by toads.
That's fair.
For
That's
God
fair.
knows how long. I would also be very trusting of another human if I had been completely surrounded by sentient mushrooms for like 10 years.
Here's my question. I think. Do you think that the multi-dimensional aspect worked, or should they have
Yes.
just opened in the Mushroom Kingdom?
I think it worked because I would argue the first 20 to 30 minutes of the movie before they go to the Mushroom Kingdom has the best pacing. I think the pacing was fine until they entered that warp pipe. Once they
I'm
went
actually
there,
inclined to agree with you. Yeah.
it kind of just
That's valid.
they cranked it up to 11 and it felt fast for the rest of the movie because everything felt normal. Like, oh, this is our first day being plumbers. This is our first job. Here's our, like, coming back from our first job. Oh no, here's the inciting incident of trying to go fix the thing. And now we're sucked into the pipe. And then, oh, Mario's here and Luigi's here. And Mario's here and Luigi's here. And Mario and Peach are here and Luigi's here. And then, oh, boom, it's the end of the movie.
I feel like the movie kicked into autopilot once they went to the Mushroom Kingdom, where it's like it felt like Chat GPT make a Mario movie, where it's like, and then Mario Karts, and then pipes,
Yep.
and then like fire castles. It felt like, okay, this movie kind of wrote itself then, huh? Like that's how I.
extremely accurate. That's very accurate.
But you brought up something that I really, again, I like the movie, but there are little things where I'm like, why make it weird? How did you guys feel in the real world in the movie about Mario and Luigi's design versus like all the other like humans in the real world?
I thought it was okay. I think it fit because his whole family looked like that too. So like you could, if you really want to get technical, you could boil it down to like, oh, it's just weird family genetics, I guess.
that Mario family.
Yeah.
Mario family. The Luigi Mario family.
Yeah.
I never thought about it until you just now. That is a little weird.
So all the other characters look like Illumination characters. How they have the same kind of they had the Illumination look. You know, they're really skinny at certain parts of their body. And then Mario and Luigi just stand out so awkwardly where I'm like, why can't they just be normal-ish size in this world?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh my gosh.
it's weird to me that they look completely out of place in the real world. They look so much more normal in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Yeah.
You're so right because Peach looks like an Illumination character.
Yeah,
Like-
especially like her emotion, the way she emotes.
Yeah,
Yep.
and the way like there was one scene, it's the scene where she's sitting with Mario talking about the course and she does like the Illumination head thing where they lean in while they're nodding their head and I'm like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's y'all stole that rig from Despicable Me." Every
Yeah.
Despicable Me character does that. And I'm not saying it was bad, but I see your point of like Mario and Luigi look one way and then everyone else looks a certain way.
I just wish everyone else was more Mario and Luigi's style because that's what we're here for. I'm here to
agree.
see the Nintendo and I'm here to see the Mario world. And so when they're in the real world and they're in the Punch Out freaking pizza place, which got me hype, all of the pictures and stuff for like Soda Popinski and all of them, Glassjaw Joe, they're like so out of place to me where they looked like they were like cropped into the image where people there are like normal 6 foot, 5'5", 6 foot tall. And then there's Mario and Luigi are like up to their waists and their like chests. I'm like, they look like freaks in this world.
Yeah, no, they do. But if also, I ask like in Mario Odyssey, isn't that how it is? Like if you are Mario and you're weird, and everyone else looks normal.
But that's because like it's not like Mario lives there though.
Yeah, that's
in
true.
Mario Odyssey. I will
That's
say they did
true.
adapt. The whole wedding thing came directly from
that's
Mario Odyssey.
straight from Mario
and when he
Odyssey.
put the hat on, the top hat, I was like, oh my gosh, that's the top hat from Mario Odyssey.
Cappy. Oh my gosh.
Little cameo from what's her name, Penelope, or what's her
Yes,
name, the mayor?
Yeah.
Pauline.
Colleen.
Yeah,
Yes, she's there.
That was hype. I got hype when I saw her.
That was good. If you in the kingdom there, when he just gets there and he's running through with Toad, all of the stores are from Mario Odyssey, and so I noticed some of those are from Mario Odyssey. We wrote in the notes, it said so many different power-ups got time to shine. You got like fire, ice flower, Tanuki leaf, superstar, and all this stuff. Did that feel natural to y'all, or?
I think it did for the world they
Okay.
set up.
I agree.
Yeah. There's these little square boxes here, and they got items in them, and they all got different items in them. I thought it was great that they put in stuff like the mini mushroom, which is like nobody's
funny.
favorite
Yeah.
item,
Yeah, right.
but they brought it twice. Or the cat bell, which has only been in the most recent Mario game. I thought that was great.
That was good. I thought him not liking mushrooms was kind of a dumb bit.
Well, I agree. It was a dumb bit where it's like you're drawing too much attention to it, and now it's like it's weird that now it's weird to me because now it's like now it is what a weird coincidence that you're now in the Mushroom Kingdom. It'd be like if I went to the Onion Kingdom and all of a sudden there's onions everywhere. It's like it's weird that is this my like what's that like my eternal torture?
No,
this is my like did he die? Did Mario die? I'm sure there's gonna be fan theories. Did Mario die going down that tunnel when during the flooding when he smacked against the brick wall and this is his purgatory?
This is the Mario purgatory, is just the Mushroom Kingdom. Hey, here's the thing. We're writing a fan fiction. It's going on Wattpad. This is gonna be Mario Purgatory. So speaking of purgatory, so there's a scene where they're all in their cages and they're like over the lava and stuff, and you got this Luma, and the Luma is very negative and it's played for laughs. How do we feel? Is that funny? Is that necessary?
I'm gonna be honest. The Luma was one of the funniest things in the entire movie, especially when Kamek comes in and is like, "You're all invited to the wedding," and they're like, "Yeah," and they're like, "To be ritualistically sacrificed," and the Luma's like, "Finally, mercy." And I'm like, "Yes, I want to see more." And then like when he's going on about like, "Oh, there's only the sweet release of death," and the penguins are like, "We're depressed enough. Please stop." Like, we're already.
I love
depressed.
that bit. Yeah, like, dude, come on.
Yeah.
It's just,
No,
I really liked
funny.
it. I really liked it. It felt like to me what this movie could have been, which I really wanted, but I feel like it would have been too obvious. This should have been a Phil and Miller or Lord Miller production.
Yes.
The same way like Batman or Lego Batman, like Lego movies and stuff. You get the perfect mixture of what I call family film, where it's like there's a misunderstanding. I feel like when it comes to family films, where it's like, oh, they're kids movies. Like no, they're family movies. So there are kids, but adults, and there has to be enjoyment on both ends.
Yes.
I feel like Lord and Miller excel in that where it comes to like that kind of humor, and I feel like that was the most Lord and Miller part of this movie was the Luma, where it's like this is for the adults. Like this is adult humor doesn't have to be like adult humor. It just has to be, you know, maybe a little bit of edge on it, a little bit of darkness. It's funny.
Yeah.
In this otherwise bright movie, I thought like when she was getting lowered into the lava and was like getting excited about it, I'm like, this is hilarious.
Yeah. I thought I was
on board
funny.
with it.
I thought it was funny.
When they're getting pulled back up.
I thought it was funny, but I also, it was the kind of thing where like, I got the impression that there was a lot more of those jokes in the movie and they got cut. And that was all that was left of after the studio heads like scooped the brains out of the movie. So that's what felt sad for me, is I wish there was more of that, because since there wasn't, it felt a little out of place. So I wish the whole
I'll
movie
agree it was
like
kind of out of place. I'm actually, as I was experiencing it, I was shocked that much got in because I'm
absolutely.
like, how do you pitch that to Nintendo?
Yeah.
Who's so protective of their characters? They're like, why would there's not some person who's like, Luma would never me like that. I'm like, that's like, it's like the SNL Barbie bit. Unless, like, Luma would never move as happy and optimistic.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that we got that much little like kind of edgy darkness in this movie. I'm about it. I thought it was enough to, you know, for the adults to ha through the movie.
I thought it needed more. But
I mean, I wouldn't have been mad at more.
I would not have been mad. That's kind of what Puss in Boots did, and it went really well. So
True.
I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Since what I'm looking at on the notes here is like talking about the ending, before we get there, I'm going to tell y'all what was missing from this movie. I'm going to follow up on my little tease here.
The payoff.
So I watched it. First time, something felt off. Watched it the second time, it didn't hit me until Kamek came in and said, Lord Bowser, our spies told us that Princess Peach is training up this mustachioed human from the real world. And I went, wait a minute. We never saw any form of like, there's Koopa paratroopas or like no spies in the Mushroom Kingdom, no nothing. How does he know that?
They were everywhere. They were in the Kong Kingdom. They were
And I
in the
kept-
Mushroom
Yeah.
Kingdom.
And I kept thinking about that, and I was like, we're missing all of these. There's like, I feel like this movie needed to be 15 to 20 minutes longer than it was. It needed to be an hour and 45, maybe 2 hours. Because there was stuff that felt like it was missing. Like simple stuff like that. Of like, all you need is a 5-second insert shot of a Koopa in the background. Who's then like, oh, I need to go tell Lord Bowser. And then he runs away. Bam. Easy.
Yeah.
Now you've justified that line. Or like, Toad doesn't question where Mario came from. Doesn't question his motivation. Is just like, yeah, I'm going to take you to our leader, you strange person who doesn't look like me. Let's go. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I feel like there's a little more. And even in the throne room where they're like, all right, Bowser has the star. He's coming here. And Princess Peach is like, I'm going to go to the Kongs. And then I'm going to convince them. And they're like, okay, cool, bye.
Okay, bye. Have fun.
There was no like, no, princess, you shouldn't go. Like, I felt like there was an angle
Have fun
Where-
storming the castle.
you could have said, where they could have been like, princess, we don't think you should go by yourself. Like, it's dangerous to go alone. Zelda
Right.
reference.
Yeah, right.
And then like they throw Mario through the door, and she's like, you know what? I'll take this guy with me, and then I'm not going alone. He seems like a competent guy. And then you have the training arc where she's like, okay, so you're actually not like, let me train you up first, and then we'll leave. And I don't remember. I think it was AJ who said it, where like she was just kind of too trusting of Mario.
Yep.
So I see that, and I feel like that could have been
Yeah.
fixed. But my thing that I felt like was missing was one little extra time.
Yep.
It would have really done wonders for the pacing too.
Yep.
And I feel like there's a 2-hour cut out there somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really curious what was in this movie, because apparently they did test screenings of this movie last year and it did really bad.
Oh.
Ooh-wee.
And I'm
Interesting.
wondering if it did really bad because they let film critics in there instead of letting like
Yeah.
Nintendo fans in there, which granted they need both.
Right.
Sure.
But I'm wondering what was in that cut of the movie that was so bad that could have been worse than what we got. Not to say what we
Yeah.
got is bad, but like,
But it was worse.
was it a
What did they
2-hour
change?
movie and people are like, it's too long? And because let's be realistic, they can't change that much in a year.
Right.
Especially when it's digital like this, where they're
Uh-huh.
like, we cut 10 minutes. Like, you just wasted $3 million
Yeah.
with 10 minutes of CG footage.
Yeah.
I think they made it, like I said, this is a commercial
Yes.
movie. This is a movie where they want to make a lot of money, and I think they just tightened it up. They had the movie and they just wrung out all the extra stuff where they're like, Mario meets Toad, and Toad's like, oh, yeah, I'll take you over there. It's like, let's just not bother.
Yeah.
And I feel like for me, with my expectations of this movie, that worked because I'm like, okay, I feel like I know Toad as a person who's played Mario his whole life.
Right.
Like, yeah, let's just get on with that. Like, yeah, power boxes. Yep, let's move on. I think that this movie leaned into, they're like, you guys know,
Yeah.
like, as they're like talking to the audience, they're like, we don't have to waste time establishing the relationship between Peach and Mario. We know who they are. We know how power boxes work. We know how the shells and stuff work. We know all this. Like, let's just get there.
Yeah.
So I feel like, yes, a good movie would have explained all that, but they're like, we've had 30 years of you guys understanding this stuff. Let's just get to it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I completely agree. I think that's what they did. It was a lot of, you already know who it is. Like, let's just get to it so we can shove some Easter eggs in your face and it'll be super fun. And it was super fun. But I also don't think that what they did in this movie was very future proof, in the sense of, how do they make a second movie from this? Because they pulled in so many different stuff from all these other games, and it's like, oh, now you have to commit to that. You have to commit to Mario Kart is from Kong, like the Donkey Kong characters they make those karts. You have to commit to that. And it looks like, based on the end credit scene, that they're going with the Yoshi vibe, which
Mm-hmm.
I think he should have been
I'm so
writing
disappointed.
Yoshi in this movie in the first place.
I'm so
that's-
disappointed.
Yeah.
I think they're planning ahead, because if you know, we didn't get to see red shells in this. We didn't really we saw like 1 or 2 shots with the green shells. We didn't get to see the spinning shells or the trail of bananas from Mario Kart. There's countless things. We didn't see the mushroom burst like thing. Like there's countless things that they didn't include in this. And they had to do basically the MCU effect. You know, they had to like establish their entire universe in a movie. And that's why there's a few cringy parts for me that in this movie, like one of the lines literally was like completely random of Peach talking about, there's lots of galaxies out there, where I'm like, I get it.
Wink.
I get it. Multiverse. We're getting everything is multiverse and everything's connected now.
Mario Galaxy.
I was expecting the post-credit scene to be Waluigi and Wario, so I'm happy we didn't get that, because I'm like, have them just be in a movie and stuff.
I was expecting the post-credit scene to be Rosalina. I'm gonna be honest.
I do too.
I was, especially with how prominently the Luma was in the movie. I thought it was gonna be like the Luma floats off and then you see him get caught by Rosalina, and it's like, oh, that's the big tease for the next movie.
Yeah.
Because even Chris Pratt said, oh, the post-credit scene gives you a little taste of what like the next movie could be. And I'm like, Yoshi?
How?
We saw Yoshi's in the movie. It'd be one thing if they cut out that scene where we see a bunch of Yoshis running in the background and we didn't know if they were there or not. And then you see this egg and you're like, whoa, there's Yoshis now? But I wanted it to be Rosalina because, and I didn't realize that we were talking right now, there is literally in the Mushroom Kingdom no other female characters. None. Which seems like prime real estate to bring in Daisy and Rosalina. And you could have had just one quick throwaway line. And maybe, you know, there's a whole galaxy out there Mario Galaxy reference. Rosalina's up in the stars. You could have swapped that out. Or even when they were looking at the map of the whole like Mushroom Kingdom and whatnot, you could have had Daisy as the princess of it's like Sarasaland or something, which was the plot of one of the Mario games, is Mario has to go and save Daisy from Wario, I think. Which I might be totally wrong on that, and if I am, people are gonna grill me.
I don't know. They all kind of mesh together, except for the ones that really stand out.
That could have been such a throwaway line of like, oh yeah, there's this neighboring kingdom that we don't really talk to them. We got some bad blood. There's your second movie.
I think I 100% agree with you. Yeah.
Like, let's go investigate, and now you have another female character, so you can pass that Bechdel test of Peach is talking to another female. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
I really hope they treat Daisy at least with some kind of respect. Give her some kind of character, like anything about her character. Make her, I don't know, give her some kind of quirk. But I think the sequel is gonna dive into the tease of where did Peach come from. They'll probably dive into that in the second movie, and there'll be a scene of them playing Mario. They're playing tennis. There'll be a scene of we'll get the Mario Sunshine. They'll be on the beach on one scene. Like this, everything about like the next, I imagine 3 movies. They just have to go like, it's just like, hey, they did the thing. Like they did the Mario thing. And I'm on board with it, because that's what my expectations are for this kind of movie.
Yeah.
But with all that said, there were certain things that I did not like. There kind of few in between, but one thing I for sure really didn't like was I thought it was when they arrive at the Kong Kingdom and they play Take On Me for no reason.
Yeah.
That was that was the few times, because I actually kind of liked the music choices for like virtually everything else, like playing Beastie Boys and they were in Brooklyn and stuff. I'm like, I liked it. That was the one time where I'm like, this makes no sense, like lyrically, thematically, besides literally Take Me Up, I guess, at one part when they start flying.
Yeah.
But I'm like, did they dress this monkey up like an 80s, with a suit, like just because that's not a DK character that I'm familiar with.
No, it's just a monkey.
No, me neither.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, that was the only time where I was like, that was a bad needle drop. I didn't care for that.
I didn't like the pop songs being in there. It felt out of place, especially when they did such a good job with the rest of the music for this movie. That felt so out of place that like the only one I did like was the training montage with I Need a Hero. That one worked. The other
That's an easy one for me though. I'm a sucker for that.
I'm a sucker for I Need a Hero. Like if you put that in any movie.
Did they beat the first place holder though of Shrek 2?
Absolutely
that
not.
holds the belt.
Absolutely
for the use of that song.
You will have to pretty much change the world to steal I Need a Hero from Shrek 2. Like that is that pretty much will forever be the most iconic scene with that song in it. So, yeah.
That is dope.
Yeah. No,
That
I can agree
that
with
bugged
that.
me. And then, I mean, I'm sure there's other little things, but the one thing that really stood out when you have this movie, which the whole thing is like, this movie felt like, you guys have been to Disney World.
Yeah.
This felt like going to Disney World in terms of the extra 10% of like them really caring.
Mm-hmm.
Little things like the way Mario jumps, like where it's like, oh my gosh, he did the triple jump, like on like one scene, like DK just did the, like, I was like watching the Smash Bros fight. I mean, he just did like his triple A combo down to like ground pound, like down B, like every little thing, little nuance, little jump, little voice thing that they did was like, they cared so much. But then you mentioned at the end, Nick, where Mario and Luigi both grab the Power Star. That's not how it works. It's dope. It's cool.
Only one person gets the star.
Only one person gets the star. I don't want to have to care, but when the whole movie is them caring so much, every little detail, every painting in the background is like from Mario 64 when they get in the Mushroom Kingdom. All those little things they care so meticulously about, and then they broke through. That's not how the star works.
Yeah.
That bugged me. It didn't ruin the movie, but that bugged me a bit.
The end is a little whack. I'll be honest. The end fight is pretty good. But it was almost...
Bowser gets freaking violent.
Yeah, no.
Like, I was shocked with how brutal he got.
The end fight was really good. I felt kind of hyped for that. I was like, ooh, okay, we're getting into it. But then it just kind of ended. The movie's like, okay, we defeat... Like, I needed...
They do that iconic jump and freeze frame.
That was
and
like,
then that was it.
And I was just kind of like, I needed like a little bow tied on it to really be satisfied, because you can do that while still not revealing too much about what your next movie will probably be. And I don't know. I'm trying to figure out like the relationship between Brooklyn and the Mushroom Kingdom now. Like, is everyone using this tube to go over there? Like, is this just a thing people do now? Are they keeping it a secret? Like, because they obviously can go back and forth, but I don't know. I don't know.
What I think is funny is the whole concept of Mario going back to Brooklyn to fight Bowser is ripped directly from the old Mario movie.
Ew.
Almost down to the execution of how it happens.
Ew.
Almost. It's very close.
The inclusion of like them being actually plumbers in New York, I was like, are they really doing the Mario 93 bit again? And stuff? I was fine with it. I think they did it. This is how you should quote unquote do it. But yeah, I was like, they're teasing it a little bit. Little tinges of 93 Mario.
And little tinges of the Super Mario Bros. Super Show. I was there for that.
Dude, that commercial was hype.
That was good.
It's the little details of them in like the crappy green screen. You can see like the green screen bleeding onto them. I'm like, that's so good.
Yes.
That's great.
They get it. Like, as someone that uses green screen, like, or I used to all the time, it's like, you get it. Like, that happens. It's so good.
It's great. I loved that. I love all the little Easter eggs and stuff are so great. The little ringtone was the GameCube startup sound.
Yes. Yeah.
All of that was just...
A small one that I didn't catch until the second time around. I caught part of it, but when Mario's sitting in his room, he's playing Kid Icarus.
Yeah,
and I was like, whoa. But then the second time around, not only did I notice that there was an actual NES plugged into his TV, he's got a little model R-Wing from Star Fox on top of his
dope.
TV.
That's
I was like...
That's awesome.
I'm about it.
It's another franchise you can make a movie on, Star Fox.
I'm just saying they played DK Rap, so it's a good movie.
Donkey Kong.
It's so good. They played the DK Rap, and that made me happy. Oh,
that's another part that not that specific part, but there's another part where I'm like, that felt a little off. I liked Diddy Kong in this movie. I wish they didn't call him like that means you too, Diddy Kong. Like, just stare at the camera at that point.
At that point.
Just say like, not like you, especially you, and then point. Use the visual medium of showing, and then the audience will be like, hey, it's Diddy Kong. He's playing congas at one point. They're doing Donkey Kongas.
And it's like, I thought that was dumb too. It was just like, and that means you, Diddy Kong. It was kind
That
of
was
like
bad.
it gave me the impression of Disney Channel sitcoms when there's a guest star.
Yeah.
When there's a guest star and they walk in, they're like, "Oh, my bad."
Yeah. Oh, I bumped into you. Pause for scream.
applause.
Whoa! Yeah,
That's
that
like
was
Shaquille
bad.
O'Neal.
And I also really didn't like Cranky Kong in this. He was my worst voice actor in this. Was Fred
yeah.
Which is
Armistead.
so sad because I love Fred Armisen so much.
Yeah.
I didn't like him.
Oh, yeah.
It was like this really weird voice thing to be. I'm like, what do you?
And like he
this
was
is not-
really nasally the whole time.
Yeah.
It felt like a bad South Park character. I'm like, what are you doing?
I'm like,
First of
That's
all,
so
you don't
true.
sound old. What are you
Yeah.
doing?
No,
he just
that's
sounds
so true.
nasally.
Yeah. That means you're
He sounds like a bad stereotype that I'm not going to get into too much. He sounds like a bad stereotype of a certain demographic of people.
Anyway, you're right.
Yep.
I know we haven't really touched on it, and we can this can kind of be like leading into the closing thoughts. I didn't like how little Luigi was in this movie.
Worst part of this movie was
really
Luigi's
didn't
exclusion.
have anything to do other than be trapped in a cage. And what was interesting was right around the same time that they had the whole screening last year, a plot synopsis leaked out from someone who had been there and said, "Hey, here's what the movie is. I'm not supposed to because I'm under NDA, but I'm leaking anonymously on 4chan so they'll never find me."
They'll find you,
And
son.
in that cut of the movie, apparently Luigi and Mario still got separated, but Luigi had more to do. He was with Yoshi and another character.
Ooh.
I think he was with Donkey Kong. I think it was Yoshi, Luigi, and Donkey Kong. They get separated from Mario, and then the B plot is Luigi trying to find Mario as opposed to being trapped in the cage, unable to do anything. Because it didn't feel like Luigi had a character arc either, because his character,
He was
what,
literally trapped.
he's the weak, lesser than brother, but then at the end he holds up a manhole cover so Mario doesn't get burned alive. That's it. He spends the rest of the movie in a cage. And I know it's probably because they didn't want to go the stereotypical route of, oh, let's make Princess Peach the damsel in distress. And okay, that's cool, but you didn't need a damsel in distress either way. You could have still had Bowser be the villain, Mario and Luigi get separated, and Peach not be the damsel in distress. Those things can all coexist together.
Well, I don't see a problem with Peach being the damsel in distress. I don't think damsel in distress means that she can't be a strong female character, because that's the entire point. They're saying she can't get captured because that means she's not a strong female character. No, that's not what that means. You can work that out. That's possible. She gets captured in literally every game. This is how
that's kind of the premise
story
of 90%
works.
of the Mario games.
I would have really liked if Mario got there and the Toads were like, "Oh my gosh, he stole the princess. You have to help us.
You just missed him.
You have to help us."
Yeah.
I would have liked that a lot better
Yeah.
than how Peach was handled. But
There's a way to handle it. Yeah.
there's a way. It was possible, and I think it could have worked.
I think my big problem, which I agree, my least favorite part was how little Luigi's in it. It's called the Super Mario Brothers movie, not Mario, the movie. And so this just comes playing the game. Mario was never my choice in
same.
any of the Mario games.
Nope.
And usually it's Bowser, but that's besides that. But I've always liked Luigi, and I think the dynamic between the two was probably one of the better parts. I love the whole brotherhood thing in this, and the whole we could do anything as long as we're together. I want them together more.
Yeah.
Or not even they don't have to necessarily be together more, but I want to see Luigi more. I want to see the brothers more. And I think that having Luigi get captured and an admittedly kind of cool scene, a little I was getting the vibe because there were a lot of kids. Okay, first of all, I saw this movie 10 o'clock at night on a Thursday, hoping that there would not be a lot of children there, because I'm I'm a grown man who has to go by himself because I can't bring my 2-year-old to the movies.
That's fair.
I'll go by myself. I look like a creep. I'm very self-conscious of that. And so I'm less children 10 o'clock at night in an IMAX viewing. Who's going to want to do that? a ton of people. It was like a virtually sold out show, and I was getting a vibe of like, are these kids being terrified about the dry bones and stuff in this movie? Like, it seemed a little. I was fine with it, but I was worried about the children, their part in that, if they were going to be too scared of that scene.
You see,
I'll be honest. I watched it yesterday, and all the kids in the theater really enjoyed it. They were laughing at the points where you're supposed to be laughing, and that was kind of the big takeaway I had was. We can sit here and say this film, like, oh, on an objective level, like, oh, we didn't like this, this, and that. But the kids really enjoyed it. And at the end of the day, I think that's what they were going for. Is if a kid can sit down at this 90-minute movie and just laugh and have a good time and watch it over and over and over again, you've made a successful film at that point.
Yeah. And mom and dad aren't saying this is insufferable. They're saying this is enjoyable, which
that's it. Because
they achieved that.
As a person who has a child who's watching movies now and has requests for movies, there are kids movies where it's just like, dude, these are just shapes and colors making noise, and I can't get through it. But then there's the beautiful like artistry that is, say, Bluey, where it's like this is a well-made show.
We stand Bluey in this home.
I'm all about it, and so. With Mario, which I don't like people calling this like a kids movie per se, because it's a family movie that's maybe if like the gauge is, and for family it's like one end is adult, the other is kid. It's more towards kids, but the kids aren't going to be laughing at the look. There's an NES, or like, oh, you see, we're laughing because he's in a Punch Out pizzeria. You see, kid, before Smash Bros, Punch Out was its own series. It's things like that where it's like that. As I can watch this with my son and I can be like, this is awesome because I'm familiar with this stuff for 30 years. Like it's that kind of stuff that makes this an enjoyable movie at the very least. You were mentioning with when it kind of closing, coming to the close here, I wanted to definitely mention that an unsung hero that I was like prepared to dread and completely swayed me back. That dog scene in the beginning when they're doing the plumbing, I was expecting to hate it. I laughed so hard during some of the bits where when Luigi steps on the bone and the dog is like locking eyes but then still looking its owner. Or the bit that was, to me, it's like my kind of humor where the dog walks into the bathroom and then the camera cuts to the back or cuts behind the door as the dog slowly closes the door behind them. That's such well done comedy. And then, it goes back and forth on now it's kiddie comedy or whatever, funny comedy. But then, like, as the dog is slowly rising in the shower as the water's it's good comedy. It's like almost Buster Keaton style comedy where I was like, wow, I was prepared to hate the scene and I'm actually pretty happy with it.
I can relate. I was not ready. I was not excited for that part. And I kind of had a good time. I like when they cut to the window downstairs and they like catch the dog with the plunger and like, I don't know, that made me think of that scene from Father of the Bride where he like falls into he falls into their pool in the back. I think that was good. So yeah, closing thoughts. It's the kind of thing where I'm like, I will dissect this movie because I love to dissect movies. That's why I have a podcast. But it doesn't matter because that's not what this is for. This isn't a dissect movie. It's a fun movie, and it may be a commercial film, but overall, it's just a good time, and I will probably see it again. And if looking at that as its goal, it achieved it. Good job.
Yeah.
There you go.
I think a sequel movie will be infinitely better than this one.
I agree.
Because now they've established the world, they've established the characters, and they can really just go crazy with what they've set up. And you can get your Wario's and your Waluigi and your Rosalina and your Daisy and your Yoshi and Super Mario Sunshine and Super Mario Galaxy.
We're going to get Metal Mario. We're going to get all that stuff. Yeah,
they've got, Bowser Jr., the Koopalings. Like, there's so many different... The material is there for them to do it. And it's interesting. And I was gonna bring this up, is immediately after the first Sonic movie came out, the way that movie ended was with Tails showing up. And that, to me, felt like a much better setup for a sequel than like, oh guys, look, Yoshi's here.
Yeah.
But in the case of Sonic, like a week after that movie came out, they greenlit a sequel, and they announced that they had greenlit a sequel. This doesn't feel like we get a sequel greenlight for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest. I feel like this has already been greenlit for like a whole series. Like like they already. I'm wondering where it's ending in terms of the green light.
Yeah.
Especially with the money it made.
That's true. I've heard rumors that Illumination is doing a DK movie, and that's the next one. And
they pay for Seth Rogen. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently,
And he
as
needs
of
the money.
last year, the movie was, quote, from the leaking source, pretty much done. Like, they had gotten a script put together, they had done most of the animation, and that was last year. So I think we could see a DK movie next year.
Okay.
And they could be on a yearly Nintendo movie pipeline if they're this far out.
Yeah. I'm going to guess whether it be DK or Mario 2, whatever you want to call it. I think the next Easter egg thing we'll get is going to be something that's going to probably tease another franchise. Yep. So we might get a Kirby thing. We might get a... Because if I had to guess, they're you have to go with like what is Nintendo, like the staples of Nintendo, and then also the ones that general audiences are going to care about. I think Kirby lends itself to that. I think Kirby naturally, just as cartoony as Kirby is, will be easy to translate over, adapt, I guess.
I think they have great IPs that would work really well with the Illumination style. You got Animal Crossing, Splatoon, Kirby, like those three would be really great with Illumination style. Zelda, Xenoblade, not so much. Star Fox is kind of in a weird like middle ground.
Yeah. I think it'll work.
Where it could work because they've done movies like Sing.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's also like, I don't know. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't know.
Speaking of did you guys also get the trailer for that new Ducks movie that Illumination is doing? I love how shameless and how dumb they think their audience is. Where the trailer for this movie is,
look at these other movies we worked on.
We've made good movies that you've liked. Here they are. Here is a 15-second clip from Despicable Me. Here's a 10-second clip from Sing. It's like, you liked those movies, right? Here's a new one coming out.
I respect the hustle for them putting a clip of the Mario movie in that trailer to play before you've even seen the Mario movie.
Yes.
Like, I respect that so much. They're like, hey, this was a resume builder, and we're putting it on the resume.
Oh,
you're like, so here you go. It's a new it's a new franchise, but you've liked these movies before.
And you guys can come back and watch
this
this when we've done the Super Smash Bros. Movie.
Ew.
Which, I mean, come on, we all know this is building to a Smash Bros. Movie at some point.
I think they are. All I want from this, that's what all I want from this, because I get it. This is not that kind of thing. Just don't be Space Jam 2, where it's gross and a headache, where it's like you're just throwing everything at the screen, where it's like, hey, look, pause the screen, look, there's that and this and that. Just don't go that far is my point. Other than that, I'm basically on board. Yeah. I get it. I'm going to be there because I want to see this Mario Sunshine scene in the movie. I want to see the Luigi's Mansion movie. I want to see all that stuff. I'm fine with it.
I mean, Charlie Day said he's open for the Luigi's Mansion movie,
Dude, I love Charlie Day so much. That's another, I was like so mad that he didn't get that. Like his little quiver is like, Mario. I'm like, he did the thing. He did the Luigi's Mansion.
He does so good. Wow.
King Boo is in the movie.
He's in it.
Like King he was Boo at the wedding.
King Bomb Bomb is in it.
The Boos are there. Luigi's
there.
Mansion.
I'm just saying, I'd go
Professor
see it.
Egad, played by Christopher Lloyd.
Let's go. What a decision. Yeah, let's go.
I'm just saying. I don't know. Like, I'm excited for the future of more movies like this. Like, I think it has huge potential to grow. Like, I want to go see a Luigi's Mansion movie. So, who's to say we won't get one? I'm excited.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Before we wrap up here, I do want to speed run. We asked questions on Instagram.
Yep.
Or asked for people to submit thoughts, feelings, and opinions. Not all of them are questions. 2 of them are. Yep. And then 2 of them are just opinions. One of them from J_Davenport is going to see it tomorrow.
Thanks,
Cool.
Jay
You'll have seen it
Davenport.
by the time this episode comes out.
Yes.
Thanks for the update.
Another one from Hudson Sanders. Amazing score and soundtrack. Great idea to do both 80s classics and Mario music. Also true.
Agreed.
And
Love the soundtrack.
I
Favorite part of the whole movie.
I promise I won't go on a really long tangent here, but last episode I talked about how we need to do more dynamic music. Like in Sleeping Beauty, how the music was a character. This is the closest we've ever gotten to that. And I think that's because most of the music is from a video game. And video game music, especially in Mario games, is very timed to what you're doing in the game. And
Yes.
that made it so much more interactive with what was going on in the movie and part of why it was so good. Okay, that's my mini tangent over. The two questions, one from friend of the show, fellow Cars 2 enjoyer, Logan Urig. Favorite vocal performance? For me,
Jack Black. Jack Black.
Is Jack Black.
I'm going to go
Jack
Charlie
Black.
Day.
No.
He's a
Luigi. I
steady
know he
second. I
wasn't-
just wanted to hear him more.
I know he wasn't in it a ton, but what I did hear was amazing.
No, you're right.
And
He's
then-
second for me.
That's awesome.
Our
He is
last
absolutely
question
Fantastic.
from Eli. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to pronounce this.
Dude.
From Aunt Azerdarak, I think. I don't know.
I don't know.
I might have gotten it wrong. Did Chris Pratt's New York accent live up to your expectations for Mario? Yes.
Yes.
Everyone who thought Chris Pratt was going to do bad or was like crapping on Chris Pratt, you all owe him an apology right now.
Here's the thing. I am 100% in that camp of I was not looking forward to it. I thought he was going to do a terrible job. I am sorry, Chris Pratt.
Aww.
You did fine.
That's all it needed to be. It didn't need to be an Oscar-winning performance.
No.
It just needed to be
No.
fine.
He did fine.
did
Just
fine.
needed
I
to
was
be
expecting
not bad.
worse.
I really.
I still, to be clear, I still think there were better options, and I
Absolutely.
still was. There were moments I dipped in where I'm like, "Yep, that's Chris freaking Pratt," but it was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
It was fine for what the
My
movie
favorite line from his delivery on, "Hey, come to Brooklyn, I'll buy you a turtle." And I'm like, what is this?
Come to Brooklyn, I'll buy you a turtle.
I'll buy you a
Bada
turtle.
bing, you know.
Bada bing,
Yeah.
bada boom, you know. But
See,
the,
look,
the
I told you to get you a pet
cannoli.
turtle.
I was like, oh my god.
Everyone's going crazy over Bowser being in the jar, and I don't know why.
I don't really
Like
care.
that's the meme. Is like they put Bowser in the jar. And I'm like,
In the jar?
what's the joke?
I don't.
like-
I don't know the joke.
He got shrunk down to a mini size, and they stuck him in the jar. And I'm like,
That's kinda
I
funny.
don't get it.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just. I will know. They're too cowardice to ever do it. But success will be measured by if we ever get an Easter egg, a throwaway joke of Bowsette. That's what I need. That's what I want. Have
Oh, that'd
Bowser
be
in the
so
mirror
funny.
practicing talking to Peach with a wig on. Be like, that's close enough. I count
Hey,
it.
It counts. Yeah.
But I want Bowsette.
I want Bowsette. Well, gang.
Apparently, also in the
Oh.
not like this is my last thing. In the I'll call it the test screening movie. Apparently, Bowser was supposed to die
Oh.
and become dry
Okay.
Bowser,
That,
which is like it's a thing in the games where he falls in the lava and then he comes out as dry Bowser.
Yeah.
That would have been so
No,
wrong.
'cause
I mean, they're not
that's-
gonna do it
Oh.
because like. Well, you
Do it
need Bowser to be
later.
the villain for the next
I mean,
movie.
do it
It's kind of like
later.
the same
Mm-hmm.
thing with Eggman from Sonic. Like they didn't kill him
Yeah.
because until the
Sorry.
second movie.
Dry Bowser was my Mario Kart main on Wii for so long, and just the thought of him being in this movie, I would have lost my stuff. Let me tell you. Oh,
Let me tell you how mad I was at the screen where I'm like, they're building their carts. I'm like, no one's gonna pick the roller tires.
for
Come on, what
real.
is this amateur
They
hour?
missed opportunity to give Mario the B Dasher. That was his cart, not the friggin' standard cart.
They need the boring Mario Kart cover thing because that audience is like, it's the thing. I'm like, come on.
Give him the Caterpillar car with the roller wheels. You know it's the best combo.
Give him the bitty buggy with the roller wheels because that's the best cart in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Anyway,
I'm fine either way.
it's whatever.
I'm fine with it.
That's just,
The movie was
that
fine.
just
It's
funny.
fun. It's a good time.
Oh, man. Well, thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful time recording it. I like talking about movies. If you like what you hear, listen on the Nerdiest podcast. That's what you're listening to now. It's way too late for this. It's almost midnight. Follow on Instagram at the Nerdiest Podcast, on YouTube at the Nerdiest Podcast. We're doing a lot of great stuff there. Listen, AJ, I'm throwing it to you. Thank you for being here. where can people listen and follow you and find you?
First of all, thank you for having me. It's been a blast. You two are always welcome on my show. I'd love to hear you. Send me a message for some you guys want to cover in the future, man. You guys have an open spot.
We'll do an adult movie.
You can, a grown-up movie, a PG-13.
We'll do like Oppenheimer. We're talking about the nuclear bomb.
There you go. Let's get real
Like
existential and
like
dark.
Men.
Like Men, nuclear bomb.
Yeah. But you can find Genre Geeks everywhere, social media under Genre Geeks. We're most active on our Instagram, but we are getting back into the swing of things. So we're going to miss a couple weeks here and there, but we are trying to get back to our main episodes. But we're happy to be back. Thank you guys and stuff for, you're definitely in like the inspiration of like, guys, we got to get back because listening to like your guys' show, listening to, I'd like a refund, press any key, all those guys, Mad Mark Movie Show. It's like I miss being like with our friends in terms of like making the the content and stuff. It's just it was a big part of it, and so I've enjoyed listening to your guys' show and stuff. You guys are great, so it's really fun to be here, and look forward to having you guys on my show again.
Thank you so much. It's so tender. We just, I don't know. I can't say enough how much we adore you all. So it's a beautiful thing to know very talented people. So thank you for coming on. We shoot a DM. We'll come on anytime. So thank you very much. Give a 5-star rating if you liked what you heard. My gosh. Give a 5-star rating if you like what you heard on Spotify. 5 stars, Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and we'll read it on the show. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts, please. We cannot get reviews. We've been trying so hard and been saying, please, we'll read them on the show. No one wants to read our reviews on the show. Anyway, so thank you for listening. Hope you have a great life. I don't know. See you in the next episode. Bye.